Hello and welcome to Better Work Days, a show dedicated to helping everyday professionals create better days at work. I'm your host, Andy Morrison from Real Custom Training, where we design and deliver professional development workshops that are relevant, engaging, actionable, and lasting. Each week on Better Work Days, we'll be taking a look at a specific concept, skill, or story that we use in our workshops. We'll make sure that they're easy to understand, fun to learn about, and most importantly, that they can be applied immediately in the workplace as soon as you finish the episode. Thank you for joining us. It's time for Better Work Days from Real Custom Training. Hey everybody, welcome back to Better Work Days. I'm your host, Andy Morrison from Real Custom Training, where we help companies develop leaders at all levels. Last week's episode, we looked at motion versus action, a concept I borrowed from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I listen to every episode of Better Work Days. Obviously, I'm familiar, very familiar with each episode because I record each of them, right? But I also listen to them after the fact. I listen to them at the gym because, one, I want to make sure that the episodes work as an actual podcast, meaning just the audio. I like doing the stream. I like having the visual pieces to complement what I'm saying, but it's got to work as a podcast too. So I listen to it at the gym to make sure that it's valuable even without those visual elements. And I think we're nailing that. And then I listen to it at the gym too, just frankly, to make sure it doesn't suck. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I like to mix in Better Work Days and pretend it's not my podcast. It's just some podcast someone recommended, and I'm listening to it to see if I would find it helpful and whether the host is a tool or not. I'm not sold on the host, but I think the content is pretty good. So I listened to every episode, and I thought last week's episode was really good. And I had some advice recently that when you're creating online content like this, that you should try to look at it, at least some of it, as what type of content would have helped you once upon a time. And I think last week's episode really matched that formula. So I wanted to build on it a little bit. So last week we talked about action versus motion, and I told you how it's helping me in my own professional development. And my biggest growth area is personal productivity, particularly organization, time management, and mindset management of not getting so overwhelmed by all the stuff I have to do, getting overwhelmed to the point that it can make it difficult to get stuff done. Okay. That's the type of stuff I'm working on. And I'm trying to adopt little systems, little techniques and things like that. Including action versus motion, and including this week's topic. So this week, I'm going to share with you a technique that I learned about a while ago that I've been practicing, and it's really helpful. And it has helped me get more done, and it has helped me feel better. And that's the Pomodoro Technique. So this week's episode is called Get More Done and Feel Better with the Pomodoro Technique. Now, what is the Pomodoro Technique? It's a technique that Jimmy Pomodoro came up with. No, not Jimmy Pomodoro. It was something Cirillo, an Italian gentleman, I believe. You know what? Google it, okay? But he came up with the Pomodoro Technique. It's called the Pomodoro Technique because it works like this. You set a timer for 25 minutes. What does that have to do with Pomodoros? Well, the guy who came up with it, his timer looked like a tomato. And apparently, Pomodoro is Italian for tomato. So the Pomodoro Technique. All right. I don't have a tomato timer. I bought this one. It looks like a little blue guy. Okay. Kind of cool. So you set your timer for 25 minutes. Step 2, you work on one thing until the timer rings. Now, let me elaborate on that one thing concept, and I'll give you another tip, a tip within a tip, folks. All right. This is Inception level stuff this week. So here's a book I recommend. Awesome Supervisory Skills, 7 Lessons for Young First-Time Managers. And the author, Tamara Murray. All right. I'm borrowing from Tamara, and she borrowed from the Mask of Zorro, the 1998 movie, which I happen to have queued up for you. So let me just dump this PowerPoint, and we will go right to this movie clip. All right. If you're not watching, let me set the stage for you. Anthony Hopkins is the former Zorro, now retired. Antonio Banderas is a drunkard rapscallion with the potential to become the new Zorro. And Anthony Hopkins, old Zorro, is training his would-be successor. He's training him in a rather elegant-looking cave. And he has Antonio Banderas standing in one circle on the floor. Why? Well, I'll let him tell you.
This is called a training circle, the master's wheel. This circle will be your world, your whole life, Till I tell you otherwise, there is nothing outside of it.
Capitan Love.
There is nothing.
Okay, that's the basic concept. The basic concept is that you've got this circle, and while you're in that circle, nothing exists except for the thing in that circle. And the way you can apply this in the workplace, and this is the great tip that Tamara gives in her book, is you take your circle, and fortunately for all of us, you don't need to find a cave. You don't need an elegant Spanish cave somewhere like Anthony Hopkins had. No, you just need your everyday Post-it pad, okay? Your sticky note. Draw a circle on that sticky note. Put the one thing you're going to work on in that circle. I'm holding up my example. In my circle right now, record better work days. That's the one thing I'm going to work on for 25 minutes, and I'm going to get done. All right? Nothing else matters. The seemingly endless list of other responsibilities I have and tasks I need to complete, it doesn't exist in this circle. I'm not going to let that overwhelm me. I'm just looking at my circle and what's in it, and that's the one thing I'm going to work on for this Pomodoro, okay? This 25-minute block, this Pomodoro, all I'm going to do is what's in my circle, record better work days. Those are your first two steps. Set the timer, work on one thing for 25 minutes, all right? Your third step in the Pomodoro technique, when that timer rings, okay? When that goes off, take a break, take a 5-minute break. And here's my own little spin on it. I say take a 5-minute break and do something totally worthless. Do the worthless thing that you have, you're the bad habit you're keeping at bay with the Pomodoro technique, all right? The bad habit that's trying to bang down the door while your 25 minutes are going on. So for me, that might mean go look at Twitter, all right? Go look at Reddit. Just something stupid that I usually spend too much time doing. Now I'm going to give myself a little 5-minute window to do it in. You scratch that itch, you do the bad habit, but it's only for 5 minutes, and you just had 25 really productive minutes. So why not reward yourself with something a little stupid, a little worthless, but hey, you're breaking it down. It's damage mitigation, all right? It's 5 minutes instead of 25. So once you've done that, now you've completed one Pomodoro, the 25 minutes and the 5-minute break, and you're ready to move on to step 4, which is take 3 more, and after your 4th Pomodoro, all right? So 4 times of 25 minutes and a break. When you get to that 4th break, it's not 5 minutes, it's 25 minutes. So basically, you've got 2 hours of solid productivity in, and you take a 25-minute break. For that 25-minute break, don't do something so stupid. Do something a little healthy, little, if you like the term self-care, do some self-care. Go for a walk, read a book, do something you enjoy, but something that's good for you. Not like the 5-minute habit where you're indulging some of the stuff you like to do that's not so good for you. No, in your 25-minute break, make it a little more productive, but personally productive. Don't do work stuff, but go for a walk, read a book, draw, paint, whatever, all that kind of stuff, okay? 25 minutes, and then you know what you do? You get right back at it. Set another Pomodoro and repeat the process. And you fit this in throughout your day as you can, and that's it. It's a simple 5-step process, but I have found it immensely helpful. And here's why I love the Pomodoro technique. 1, it's easy, all right? 5 steps. It's super simple. Anybody can do it. And you'll notice, those of you watching the stream, look at that. I figured out how to make the bullet point look like a tomato. What a wizard I am. It's flexible. That's the other reason I love it. I use it at work. I use it at home. Last night, my wife had the kids at dance practice. I was cleaning up after dinner. I started the dishes, and then I was thinking, I really want to go play Halo. I could get these dishes done after I play Halo, right? But that's the kind of pattern I'm looking to break. And I recognized it, and I said, nope, what I'm going to do instead, I get my Fitbit, and I set my 25-minute Pomodoro timer on it. And when I find myself about to procrastinate on a task, when I'm about to put off the dishes to go play Halo, I set my 25-minute Pomodoro timer, and I tell myself, let's see how long it actually takes to do this thing that I don't want to just tackle right now and get done. And you know what? It rarely takes the full 25 minutes. I had those dishes done in like 9 or 10 minutes. Kitchen was looking good. Then I could go play a little bit of video games guilt-free because I got the more important thing done, and it didn't even take a full Pomodoro to do it. I'm trying it out too with other things I put off, being a little more tidy. All right. I don't have to worry so much about, how do I learn to be clean? That's a huge task. It's much more manageable if I say, can I spend, let's do an easy baby step goal. Can I do 1 Pomodoro a week where I just tidy up a spot of the house? Just start there. Start with 1 Pomodoro. It's flexible and it's easy. All right. A third reason that I love the Pomodoro technique, my timer, it's got a butt. Can you see that on the stream? Did not know that when I bought it on Amazon. I'm not quite sure why they gave it a butt, but it's got one, and I kind of love that about it. So unique to me, but if you want to, you can get this on Amazon too. If you'd like a timer, a little blue person timer with a butt, you can get that too. Rock the Pomodoro technique. All right. It also, I find it helps ease anxiety. I touched on this a little bit a moment ago, but it's so easy to get overwhelmed for some of us, maybe not for you. God bless you if that's the case. For some of us, it's easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of stuff you have to do. Okay. Especially if you're a high performer, if you're a fairly driven person, you're taking on more and more responsibility, you're moving up in your organization, you got kids, you got family, you got coaching commitments. I mean, God, the pool needs to be opened. It never ends, right? It's easy to get a little overwhelmed by it for some of us. This helps because you don't have to worry about tackling everything. You just got to worry about what's in that circle, what's the one thing you're going to work on, and can you just spend 25 minutes on it? Can you spend one Pomodoro on it? You'll start feeling better if you have a similar experience than I have had, because it has started to help me feel better, less anxious. Just, hey, when I start feeling anxious, I think, you know what? Instead of feeling anxious, I'm gonna throw a Pomodoro at it. I'm going to spend a Pomodoro on that project that's looming over me that I haven't gotten to yet. I'm going to spend a Pomodoro on it. Oh, I need to get fit. I need to look like Mark Wahlberg. No. Let's back up. Can I spend 3 Pomodoros a week at the YMCA? Yeah, that's manageable, right? It helps ease anxiety, and it helps reframe your perspective on your workload and on time. You may have noticed I'm now referring to chunks of time as Pomodoros, right? And that's really reframed how I look at my workload, how I look at the amount of stuff I have to get done, how I look at time itself. I'm not even really often thinking, okay, I've got 25 minutes. I'm just trying to think, do I have a Pomodoro I can throw at that? And I'm starting to look at different things I need to do for the business, different things I need to do every week. You know, you got to work on marketing. You got to work on sales. You got to work on customer relationships, stuff that you have to do every week. And it can be hard to find the time. I'm now starting to look at it in terms of, all right, that particular bucket of responsibility, that's a 4 or 5 Pomodoro bucket. I can certainly find 4 or 5 places in my busy week where that I can dedicate to that bucket. All right. So it really gives you a good perspective. It can help reframe your perspective on everything. So try it out if you think it would be helpful. And if you think it would be helpful, here's the action steps for you this week. All right. In order to implement the Pomodoro technique. Number 1, try out the Pomodoro technique. All right. I gave you the 5 steps. It's super simple. Just try it out. Even if all you're doing is once in a while getting that 25-minute block accomplished, that's enough. Just try that out and see how it goes for you. If you can string together 2, 3, or 4 of them that lead to that 25-minute break, then good for you. If you can't because your day's hectic, don't worry about it. Just start trying to set aside some Pomodoros to get some stuff done. All right. And then conduct a self-assessment after you've done it a few times. Did I get stuff done? I'm willing to bet you did. Do I feel less anxious or overwhelmed? I think you will say yes. So the Pomodoro technique is great. Try it out. And your 3rd step, all right, repeat as desired. If it's working for you, keep it going. If you want to tweak it, tweak it. None of this stuff is set in stone, all right? These are all tools. They're basically suggestions. They're not set in stone. If you need to adapt the Pomodoro technique to fit you and fit your lifestyle, as long as you are getting stuff done and feeling better about the stuff you're getting done, then it's working for you. Don't worry about doing it exactly the way I outlined. Just try setting some time aside, some dedicated time to work on the things you need to work on. And setting that time aside and sticking to it is going to help you out a great deal. All right. So that's the Pomodoro technique. Try it out if you're like me and you need a really simple, highly actionable way to start feeling a little more productive and a little less anxious. And I think you will find that the Pomodoro technique gets it all done. And maybe you too can get a timer with a butt. All right, that's this week's episode. As always, subscribe on YouTube. Let your friends know about us. Subscribe on Apple Music, Spotify, Podcast Addict, the podcast app of your choice, okay? Follow us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, where you can get this live every week. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you next week. We're going to keep this going with some more productivity tips. And hey, if you try out the Pomodoro technique, reach out online. Let us know how it went for you, okay? I will see you next time on Better Work Days.